If people want to understand the truth, 真理, and the reality, 真相, of the world, they must take things seriously and not be distracted by temptations. It is just like how the needle, 针, of a compass can always recognize direction and point to true south. To sew with a needle, 认真, one must pay serious attention, 认真. You can't be careless, otherwise you won't be able to sew 认 with the needle, 真. The same goes for pouring 真 wine. You might spill the wine if you're not being careful. It is also difficult to distinguish between true and false, so one should pay more attention to distinguishing 甄别 between them. When sewing with a needle, 针, this resilient 认 thread is folded into two strands and always follows the needle, 针, to complete its task, 认, of repairing and sewing. Similarly, man, 人, always follows the truth, 真理. The two threads following the needle are also akin to the two strokes that make up the character of 人, person. One stroke for yin, one stroke for yang. When twisted together, they resemble the double-stranded structure of DNA, which makes up our genes. A gene, whose pronunciation is very similar to the Chinese character for truth, 真, is integral to generating life. Similarly, being true is integral to the formula of life. A person who follows threads and clues to crack a case is called a detective, 侦探. The process of following the clues of symptoms to find the cause of an illness is called a diagnosis, 诊. The ancients usually diagnosed a disease by diagnosing using the pulse, 诊脉. When taking someone's pulse, the wrist is placed on a small pillow, 枕. And the doctor's 3 fingers are placed on the 3 positions of inch, 寸, pass, 关, and foot, 尺, on the patient's wrist. The 3 identical strokes in the character 诊, diagnosis, represent these 3 pulse positions respectively. Taoists who cultivate spiritually according to truth, 真, and pursue the truth, 真理, believe that all things in the universe are born from yin and yang. Consequently, the Tai Chi symbol is composed of both a yin and a yang fish, and is the symbol of Taoism. The single thought of wanting to practice the truth, 真, can make the world quake, 震, in all directions. What is more interesting is that there is an eye at the top of the needle, 真. The white-colored yang fish in the Tai Chi symbol has a black eye. The black fish that represents yin likewise has a white eye, symbolizing the mutual changes of yin and yang. Both the yin and yang fish have a pointy tail like the tip of a needle, 针. Meanwhile, the character for truth, 真, includes the character 目, which is a name for eyes. This symbolizes that true people, 真人, have true, 真, eyes that can penetrate all profound mysteries. Movies look fluid instead of choppy when viewed at a rate of 24 frames, 帧, per second. What does the film composed of these frames look like? Doesn't it look like grids of cross ties? There is a type of nut called a hazelnut, 针. It has light and dark lines on its shell, just like cross ties, 针目. Anvils, 针, are as stable as railroad tracks. A blacksmith strikes iron on an anvil. The iron anvil, 针, is pointed on one end, just like the needle, 针. A train trembles, 震, as it passes over the rails or the cross ties, 震木, and gradually approaches its destination, just like a person slowly approaching the peak of his abilities and comprehending the truth. This process is described as approaching perfection day by day, 日臻圆满. The truth, 臻, is like a pagoda, 塔. We can slowly climb to the top. Red-hot iron is slowly forged into iron tools on an anvil, 针. All slow processes to achieve perfection are called 针. In addition, the shape of the character 真 looks similar to a Buddhist pagoda, 塔, which suppresses evil and eliminates chaos. Other related words include steeple, 尖塔, and stupa, 佛塔. So to stop is also to restrain. In traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, 针灸, is also used to stimulate acupoints, to activate the switches of the human body and make energy fluid in the body. Therefore, words beginning with st and ending in b or p in English are often related to sharp things, such as stab, meaning to pierce or prick, stub, meaning a short piece remaining on a trunk or stem where a branch is lost, steep, meaning precipitous, and stoop, meaning to bend or bow, similar to how a stapler has a bent back. To steep also means to soak, and sometimes water can soak a mountain and overflow. These mountains look like the character 金, gold, or a pyramid, 金字塔. Coming back to the magic needle to calm the sea, in Journey to the West, the precious golden cudgel found by the Monkey King in the East China Sea is the magic weapon used to stabilize the East China Sea. The Mountain of Flowers and Fruits, another important setting in Journey to the West, looks like a pagoda as well, guarding 镇, the vast ocean. The author is actually telling readers that only true 真 power can restrain the sea of desire, jade, 玉, and desire, 玉, all have the same pronunciation in Chinese. In Chinese mythology, a legendary king known as the Great Yu, which is another character with the same pronunciation as jade, 玉, and desire, 玉, controls floods and protects his kingdom. And only by controlling the water of desire, 玉, can one truly be healed, 玉. Of course, the shape of a pagoda is also like a needle. Both are long and thin with a hole. In ancient times, after King Yu stopped the flood, he divided the land of China into 9 continents and built 9 tripod vessels to suppress 镇 evil and stabilize the country. Therefore, there is a saying in Chinese that describes the way a person sits upright as being like a stable tripod vessel, 如鼎之镇. When one person has a righteous heart, he can suppress 100 evil things. If you look at the character for to go, 去, the top of the character is actually the Chinese character for earth, 土. The character underneath that is actually like the tilted crescent and the 3 stars that we talked about in our previous video, and is the character for heart, 心. It is the Dharma, 法, that guides people to remove, 去, the dirt on our hearts and achieve consummation. The 3 dots on the left side of the character of Dharma, 法, represent water, and compassion is like water. The process of washing oneself with compassion is called Dharma, 法. The 3 dots may also represent truthfulness, 真, compassion, 善, and forbearance, 忍. This is because each person, 人, is a seed sown by heaven and earth and is precious, 真. The character king, 王, is on the left side of the character precious, 真. This tells people that each of us is as precious, 真, as a king, 王, who governs a part of the universe. The king of all kings calls himself 真. The rare delicacies that the king eats at banquets with his officials are called delicacies, 珍馐. And the precious, 真, words of advice that help one cultivate one's morality are called proverbs, 真. The 3 strokes on the right side of the word precious, 真, are actually like the character 三, 3. In Chinese culture, earth, 土, is ranked 3rd in the 5 elements. A person who can find his way out of the world made of dirt or earth, 土, will become king. This is another connotation of the character 真. An emperor calls himself 真. He bears the important task of revitalizing 振兴, the civilization of his dynasty. If he can complete his task, he is a true dragon emperor, 真龙天子. Generals guard 镇, the border for him. In ancient times, the military fortresses that surrounded China were called garrison posts, 军事重镇. The treasures, 珍宝, and magic weapons or talismans in the heavens are usually guarded, 镇守, by heavenly soldiers and generals. The army is arranged neatly into a formation, 阵, just like how cross ties neatly form train tracks. A military formation, 阵, can also be called a phalanx, 方阵. The surrounding areas of big cities are now also called towns, 镇, or more specifically, urban towns, 城镇, and small towns, 小镇. Everyone in this mundane world is like the Tang monk on his journey to the West. Even as the most eminent monk of the Tang dynasty, he could not tell whether someone was a human or a demon. He was always captured and tricked by demons and monsters because he dismissed the Monkey King's honest warnings as crazy talk. After braving 81 tribulations, he finally fulfills his destiny to reach consummation. A person who assists the emperor according to hints or phenomena from heaven, 天象, is called the xiang, prime minister. The bishop, xiang, in chess is also written as xiang. If an emperor governs his country well after understanding God's intention, 天象, he is worthy of the title of the Son of Heaven, 天子. In order to realize the fact, 真相, of God's will clearly, the character for xiang, prime minister, has 2 eyes in it. In our next video, we'll talk about the character xiang, prime minister, from the Chinese idiom 帝王将相, meaning emperors, kings, generals, and prime ministers.